All right, hey guys. It's Jace. Um, it's kind of like a spur of the moment video. I didn't really plan on making a video anytime soon, except for my 7 months on T, which is a, it. But I can't talk. Which is in about 2 weeks or so. But yeah, kind of a spur of the moment video. Kind of just been thinking about several things regarding coming out to not only your own family and friends, but also your significant other's family and friends as well. Um, uh, because recently I have gotten into a relationship. I have a girlfriend, and even though the relationship is still fairly new, we are already talking about how we're gonna approach her parents and family. Uh, Number one, because that's something that you should just talk about anyways with your significant other, and number two, because her parents are pretty. I guess you would. I wouldn't call them conservative. I wouldn't call them that. Um, they're pretty close-minded to the fact that their daughter could be anything besides straight, if that makes sense. Like, I guess the way she explained it to me was her parents are, they have a lot of clients who are gay, whatever, and they're like, cool with them or whatever. But when it comes to their own daughter, they're more like, no, you can't be gay. Um, which technically speaking, in my situation, I'm male. She's a girl, so it's a straight relationship. So it works. But I mean, obviously, that's not how it's gonna be seen. Possibly by her parents, they just might see me as a female, and that's not okay. So, but yeah, so we're already having that conversation about how we're gonna approach her parents. What's the best way? How are we gonna get them to understand where I'm coming from as a person? Um, so first, I'm gonna cover how you come out to your own family and friends as a trans person. Um, I don't want to make the situation black and white, but eventually if you're gonna come out, you're gonna have to come out. Basically, you can't really beat around the bush. You either come out or you don't. But I do feel like there are different ways to come out that are maybe better than others, or might be more productive, I guess, and perhaps make it easier for your family and friends to accept you for who you are. I know a lot of people have utilized Facebook for coming out to their family and friends. They've posted on Facebook. Um, I see that more as a use for extended family and then friends. So maybe more of the immediate family, you may want to write a letter to them. I think writing a letter is good because it gives them time to like process it by themselves instead of you meeting with them face to face and saying, hey, I'm trans. Sometimes that doesn't give them enough time to really process it, I guess, if that makes sense. So writing a letter could be good. If you feel comfortable face to face with your parents, that's totally cool. That's what I did. Well, I didn't really do that actually. Um, that kind of goes into my next point, I guess. Sometimes including them in the process to coming out. So like I went to counseling and I started questioning my gender, and my mom was in there with me, and my process was more of a slow, like I'm questioning my gender. Okay, da 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 da. Okay, I think I'm trans. And throughout that whole process, my mom was included in that, which can really help instead of just like throwing I'm trans on them, kind of easing them into it slowly and preparing them can be really, really helpful. Um, I found out. In terms of like siblings, I have one sibling. I have an older sister. She actually identifies as lesbian, so she honestly could give a fuck less, I guess. She was just like, okay, whatever. Um, but in terms of siblings, let's say older siblings, they tend to be, they can be less accepting because they kind of already have, I don't know, I guess just older people tend to be less accepting of change, as where younger children and younger siblings tend to be like, oh, okay, whatever. That's what I've experienced. Younger kids are just definitely more open minded and don't really care as long as you are still there and their friend and their sibling. I don't know. So, um, just, I don't know, sibling, you can write a letter or tell them face to face or, yeah, stuff like that is helpful. So, back to extended family. Maybe letter can be helpful or Facebook can be helpful as well. Um, so yeah, basically, I mean, you have to come out eventually, and in some situations, it's going to be harder than in other people's situations. Um, but I mean, you just have to be straight up and tell them, this is who I am. Don't come off as disrespectful either. Don't come off as, this is who I am, and if you don't accept me, then bye. Try and work with them because it is a shock for them. So try and work with them, and then over time, if they're really not accepting of you, then you can take that step back and say, I if you can't be accepting of who I am, then we can't talk or whatever. But don't do that initially. Give them some time to process it before you just cut them out of your life. Um, so, and then on to friends. In my experience, the best thing to do is be straight up with your friends. Tell them, this is who I am. In my position, I basically messaged people on Facebook and said, this is who I am. You guys may not agree with it. You may not fully understand, the process or what transgender means and what's really going on. But for me, I need to personally transition, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I hope you're supportive. That's basically what I said, and I absolutely had no problem with anybody. So coming at that place that you're stating what you are, but at the same time you're recognizing that they may not agree with what you're doing, and that they may not understand. So recognizing that they have a side as well can be really helpful. Um, I've yeah, so that can be really helpful. And then again, if don't just cut friends off if they are automatically like, no, I can't do that. Give them some time to process it before you cut them out, because processing something like that takes time for some people, and they may have an initial reaction of a wall, but sometimes you can break that down after a while. So give them some time, and then after a while, if they're not accepting, then I know, cut them off, whatever you want to do. Um, so now onto significant other and family and friends of the significant other. Um, so me and my girlfriend have been talking a lot about this and how we are gonna go about telling her parents and her family, and I've suggested that she try and bring up a topic that is relatable to them, um, that kind of mirrors the. Hold on, I need to go get my charger. Just a second. Sorry about that, guys. Computer's dying, so I need to plug this shit in. Um. So yeah, as I was saying, kind of, we're talking about maybe bringing up a subject that kind of mirrors gender and the issues that are around gender. So one thing that I suggested to her was bringing up race, since her family is um, uh, biracial, and comparing like race and gender and how race isn't so black and white as we make it, and there's a lot of gray area. So kind of maybe bringing up something that's relatable to the family that you can kind of compare to being trans. Um, Another thing that we kind of discussed is, you need to go, if you're going to tell your family and friends, you need to know what you're talking about. You need to know like what's going on. Like don't go telling your parents and friends that uh, you know your significant other's trans, and then they start to ask questions, and then you don't have any answers for them. Not having answers and not being knowledgeable about the topic just makes it worse, because then you're not knowledgeable, so they're not knowledgeable, and they're less likely to be accepting. So know what you are talking about before you go in and tell. One thing that I've noticed that has been really helpful in terms of letting people know who I am, is really letting people get to know you as a person before your label. I think that's really helpful. We've been talking about that a lot, me and my girlfriend, and the fact that we are actually gonna put off telling them that they already know I'm trans, but they don't know that they don't know me and my girlfriend are dating. So we're actually gonna put that off. So I have the opportunity to get to know to get to know them, and they have the opportunity to get to know me as well, as a person. So we can build that kind of relationship before we bombard them with the fact that we're in a relationship. So again, that's really helpful, to build that initial relationship before you maybe tell them that the person is trans or that you guys are dating or whatever. So that can be really helpful as well. Otherwise, with family and friends, you're eventually going to have to tell them, and they're either going to be accepting or they're not. Again, don't just cut them off immediately. Give them some time to process it. But sometimes in the end, you will have to make hard choices, with all of these people. So with your parents, your significant other's parents, your friends, your family, whatever. Sometimes you will have to let people go out of your life because they're not accepting of your significant other or you or whatever, which can be a really hard decision, because I know my girlfriend is really struggling with that because she really values family, and having to kind of, I guess, choose between me or maybe other significant others in the future and her family is really hard, and I totally get that, and it's a personal decision. There's no right or wrong answer, but it's something that you have to decide yourself. Like, are you gonna be happy or I guess not. That was not the right word. I guess, are you gonna tell them so you can be happy, or are you gonna kind of like suck up to your family or your friends and I guess maybe be unhappy in the long run or in the end, or I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's a personal decision. So yeah, it's basically, I don't really have anything else to talk about. It was just kind of a spur of the moment video. I know it's getting pretty long, so I probably should cut it off. But yeah, about 7 or 6 months and 2 weeks on testosterone. So another 2 more weeks and I'll be 7 months, which is really exciting. Also, I'm participating in No Shave November, so I shaved all my ginormous facial. No, I'm just kidding. All my little amount of facial hair that I did have off, and so I'm trying to see how much I can grow in a month, and it's actually already growing back. So it's crazy. So yeah, I should probably cut this video off. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Alright guys, bye.